Hey, it's Alonzo Stanley over here. Bell Bank Mortgage. Let me turn the music down a little bit. We kind of got the volume a little loud. All right, we're going to coming at you live here in I Love Real Estate. I Love Real Estate is a Facebook group, private group. If you are thinking about buying a home, jump on in I Love Real Estate. Why? Because the goal of this group is to help all of us learn and have conversations about real estate that can help us reach our goals this year. We're digging deeper this year, and part of that is doing features featuring some of our members. So today we're going to talk with Mr. Celestia Ware. I sat down with him, very bright guy, love his energy, love his passion for what he does in helping individuals in the space of homeowners insurance. So we're gonna have a conversation with him. So again, check this out. There is a link, EVMux link. If you want to comment and join the conversation today, all you got to do is hit that EVMux link. I can see your have you feature you on the screen and everything. So jump on in. But as for now, we're talking about networking. Now we network online, but I also want to share an opportunity with you guys to network face to face. A new networking group in Brentwood, Tennessee, Tuesday mornings, 8:30, at our offices here at the Bell Bank building, right here on Seven Springs, right here in the heart of Brentwood. If you're wanting to build organic relationships, come sit down with us face to face because we got a lot of really cool strategies that'll help you also grow your business virtually. So we love to see you. But without further ado, we're going to jump in here and have a conversation with my friend, Celestia Ware. What's up, man? How you
Hey, how you
doing?
doing, man? What's
All
up?
right. What's up? Hey, we're doing it. We're excited to have you on board. It is awesome that you're here. So, any viewers here, if you have any questions, again, you can type them in the chat. You can hit us up. I'm gonna turn this music down because I want to make sure we don't over. Me being a DJ, I like my music loud, but we're not gonna have it too loud. So, what's
What's
going
good?
on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just glad to be here, and I'm just looking forward to having this conversation with you, my friend.
All right, thank you so much, man. I know you're very passionate. We sat down and broke a little bread, as my pops would say, not too long ago, and vibed. And I know your passion is kind of equal to mine about helping the community, right?
Yes, sir. It is. It is.
Yeah. So we even ran into each other this weekend at a National Black Market event, just getting out in the community. And I got a little bit more about that coming up here in a little bit. But, as people get ready to purchase a home, especially, or really, even cars or renting or anything, they need to protect themselves, right?
Yeah. This market is changing drastically, and I love real estate. I love what you're doing with this, but from the homeowner's perspective, I'm starting to see now the homeowners industry is about to change drastically. And one of the things that I'm telling people to do if they're buying a home, refinancing a home, the number one thing right now is this replacement cost. And primarily what you're going to see a change in your homeowner policy is going to be dealing with your deductibles. And a lot of insurance companies are now going to move away from all per policies to now they're going to have a per policy, and then they're going to have a win and held deductible policy as well. So one of the things that I'm trying to educate potential buyers and even people that's getting their home refinance is what I tell first time buyers that are buying an older home is, hey, when your mortgage lender, or not your mortgage lender, excuse me, but when your realtor sends out the appraisal company to go out to appraise your home, make sure they give you some information about the roof because we need to know how long that roof has been on the home. So that way it could impact you from potentially not receiving a replacement cost roof versus a ACV or what we call a scheduled payment roof in the insurance industry. Another option is what I'm giving folks to think about as well is if that home has had a new roof on it, get with the seller of that home. See if that seller can give you the documentation when that roof was replaced. There's a
Okay.
possibility that you could reach out to the roofing company that did the roof and they could sell you that warranty so you have something to go into play. Tennessee is becoming Tornado Alley. And a
Yeah.
lot of insurance companies across the board, whether it's farmers, travelers, Allstate, State Farm, you're going to see some changes in the policy language here within the next 6 months to the year going into 2025. You're going to see some changes on the policy. So my biggest concern and what I'm trying to educate folks on now is replacement costs, replacement costs, replacement costs, primarily on everything in your home, from your personal property to your roof to your fencing to your flooring, because things are about to change drastically in this market.
Man, thank you for the warning. Y'all hearing it here, guys. You know, things are changing and we're trying to keep you abreast. And that's the value, again, of having professionals that you can reach out to. So I appreciate that. Got a few questions for you, in particular and related to, the home buyers process. As a part of the process, we get you, my job is to get you the money, get you pre-approved, get you in a zero down, first time home buyer type program. But now that you're in there and you're getting ready to go, there's things that we have to do. We got to take care of certain things, appraisal, inspection. And then right there with that is homeowners insurance. So here's a few questions that maybe a home buyer would need to consider in asking a professional like yourself. So how about coverage details? What specific type of coverage are included in the policy?
Well, my number one concern is making sure the person has enough money to rebuild the home in the event of a loss. Okay. And that doesn't determine the value of the home. We just want to make sure that if your house catches on fire or if you have a tornado and you call my office, I don't want to have to get on my knees and start praying, dear Lord, please make sure this person has enough coverage. I want, I want to make sure that they have what they need on the front end. So typically, what I do is I'll say, let's say if the home is, I don't know, 200,000. Typically, we have a system that gives us a range on what it's going to cost to repair or to rebuild their home in the event of a loss. And there's a couple of different packages and how that's broken down. So let's say if the home, just for the sake of simple numbers, is 250,000. We offer this thing called guaranteed rebuild cost. So that guaranteed rebuild cost, let's say if that home is scheduled for 250,000 for the dwelling, and the developer comes back, especially here in the Middle Tennessee market, homes are doubling in value due to appreciation, right? So let's say if that contractor comes back and say, "Hey, this home is going to cost us 300,000, but the dwelling amount has 250,000." With that guaranteed replacement cost, guess what? We're going to replace that home for that 300,000 or 350,000, whatever the contractor comes back and states. Another option that potential buyer could have, where we can take 250,000 and do an extended replacement cost to that, so they can get another 50% or they can get another 25% added on top of the dwelling and make sure they have the appropriate coverages. So I want to make sure, so in case something happens to your home in the event of a fire or tornado, that we can come back and rebuild that property. There are some other things that you got to take into place too. And going back to what we talked about a few moments ago, is the replacement cost. You want to make sure that you got replacement costs on the flooring. You want to make sure you got replacement costs on the roof. You want to make sure you got replacement costs on your personal item materials. You want to make sure you got those things. And then another couple of extra items that I like to make sure that a client is aware of is building ordinance of law. And what that really means is making sure you have enough coverage to, now we talked about rebuilding the home, but guess what? Now we got to go in and get the home rewired and recoded from a cert code perspective.
Yeah.
Also, the last thing that I'll touch on is sewage and drainage. If you're on a sub tank or a septic tank, or if you're on a city line and that stuff, I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but if that stuff comes out of your toilet or if that stuff comes out of your sink, you make sure that you got appropriate coverage. So it's one of these things, Alonzo, man, you wouldn't take, to me, anything that costs over 250,000 is a nice investment. And a lot of people get sold on, price and want to make sure, but you need to make sure that you take that investment and you have somebody to truly walk you through that proposal. Because the way I look at insurance, when you buy insurance, you're buying a promise, and you need to make sure that that promise delivered. And a lot of folks don't understand the importance of having somebody to truly sit down and educate them and walk them from line item to line item. So that way, when you do get to that table and you do have that claim or that incident, now you have an ideal on what you should have had or what you need to have going into that buying process.
Gotcha, man. Appreciate that. All right. So it's a lot. It's a lot to it, and the professionals are here to help you understand and break it down. I'm gonna ask you, if you've got a question, go ahead and get on those comments so we can make sure we can ask that while you have a chance here. So we're broadcasting to I Love Real Estate, also to our I Love Down Payment Assistance, our home buyers group. And also, I think we're on my personal page and also maybe YouTube. So quite a few places. If you're on here, go ahead and hit that comment and ask a question or two. Say hello to us. All right. All right. Next question. Policy limits and deductibles. What are policy limits for each type of coverage, and what deductibles should apply or should be considered?
Deductibles now in this current economy that we're in, I do in my office. We do a base of $2,500. So that's your basic deductible. What we're going to start off with, but your deductible can go to a percentage of the home. It can go to 5,000. It can go to 7,000. Now I got some insurers that have some really nice homes. Once we get to what I call the high value homes, we're up to 1.5, 1.8, $2 million homes. Those kind of clients can self insure themselves, so they'll take on a more higher deductible. The way that I explain deductibles to people is that here's in the rationale how it really works. The lower your deductible, the higher the premium, vice versa. So the more skin you got in the game, from a deductible perspective, the better that premium is going to be. Myself personally, I ask the client what is going to be best for you. And typically, some clients go with the $1,500 deductible, some go with the $2,500 deductible. If you had a claim, what's going to be easier for you to come up with? 2,500 or 1,500? Now, the 2,500 is going to probably give you a better rate versus the 1,500. But if that 1,500 is going to give you the relief that you don't have to worry about struggling to come up with the $2,500, it just kind of goes from there. So it literally is a not a thing that we indicate or we don't dictate that. That is clearly on what is the client comfortable with. But once again, it goes back to the nature of the home. What kind of home are you insuring? Are you insuring a condo? Are you insuring a regular, just a standard single family dwelling home? So there's some dynamics that go into play with that, if that makes sense.
Understandable, understandable. And the games, you know, rules and games change. We've also had some recent changes with condos as far as deductibles as well and setting up condos. So it's a lot to it. So, but what about discount opportunities? Are there discount opportunities available for bundling home and auto and different things like that? How does that work?
It works perfect. But before I give you the discount, can we kind of just go back to the condo, because
Yeah,
you touched on something that I wanted to tell.
sure.
The condos are important, and here's what I tell all buyers: when you get ready to buy that condo or that townhome, get a copy of the master policy. That is
Yes.
key. Get a copy of the master policy. It's better to ask for it on the front end versus the back end, because especially now, a lot of developers, a lot of builders, they're now putting the ownership of that dwelling on the buyer itself. Like we have this package here at Farmers, we have a smart townhome plan, which basically is an OA6 policy, and we're literally going to be building the structure of that home. Typically, some of those policy would take care of the studs and the drywalls on in, but now some of these builders are putting that onus back on the buyer themselves. So I tell anyone, if they're buying a condo, if they're buying a townhome, whatever the case may be, have your realtor get a copy of that master policy, because you need to know in case your home is destroyed, is the HOA going to rebuild this, or am I responsible for rebuilding this? And I've seen in some of the newer builds that some of the builders are putting that back on the owner of the buyer. And so
Wow.
it's very urgent, that very important that you get a copy of that master policy. I'm sorry, remember when you touched on condos,
No,
a lot of folks just think I'm going to buy this condo and I'm going to have to take care of the insides and I'm good to go, and don't even realize that when I ask them, do they have the master policy? They're like, what is that? And so a
yeah.
lot of folks just don't know that.
Understood. All right. Very good info. This is some value here. We need to put some. We need to monetize. No, I'm just kidding. This is all free, free info because we care. You know what I mean? So it's good. People need to know this stuff. All right. Back to the discounts. Tell me about
The discounts vary. I always try to tell folks to bundle as much as they possibly can: their home, their auto, their life, their umbrella. Here's what I'm really want to urge to people: if you own a home, you should have an umbrella policy. I don't care if you own a condo, if you own a home, if you got multiple investment properties, you should consider bundling your home, your auto, your umbrella, and even your life insurance, because we do life insurance as well. And my biggest rationale about the umbrella is this perspective. Let's say you're driving in your vehicle. We all get in our cars every day, and nobody ever expect that it could happen to them. But it's that one day you're not paying attention, on a day like it is right now where it's raining, the roads are slippery, you slide into somebody, you hit somebody, and you cause significant amount of injuries. I tell folks all the time, your auto limits, especially for my homeowner, should be at a minimal 250,000 per person, not to exceed 500,000. So if they go out here and they injure somebody, if that person gets disabled, if that person gets paralyzed, if that person dies, and it's your fault, your policy is going to pay that 500,000. Now the beauty of having that umbrella is, guess what? Now you got another $1 million on top of that. So when I'm sitting down talking with somebody, that home typically, unless you're in that 1 percentile of just wealth, where wealth has been passed down, that home is going to be most of our vehicle to getting to obtaining wealth. And every time you get into your automobile, every time you drive that car, you take the chance of losing everything you work for. But you know what happens? People think that I'm the greatest driver in the world. That'll never be me. That won't be me to cause that person to get injured. That won't be me to cause that person to die. And I tell folks all the time, you see Mr. Ambulance chaser, I can't say any particular firms, but you see
Yeah,
Mr. Ambulance chaser say, hey, if you've been injured, call 554-332, whatever the number is,
yeah,
they will sue you. And it's one of those things folks don't have anyone to educate them, because it's one of those ordeals, out of sight, out of mind. If it's not relevant in my world, it's not the reality. So they just don't know. But bundling is huge.
yeah,
Look at getting that umbrella policy. Look at getting that life policy, especially for my first time buyers. You've been approved on two incomes. What happens if Timmy dies and Peggy's now left to have this house?
yeah.
Does she have enough insurance to take care of the home? Does she have enough insurance to pay off the home? What if Timmy loses his job and now he doesn't have any insurance and he gets laid off and he dies in a car accident, or he just gets ill and pass away? So there's a lot of moving parts that come along with that, where folks just don't really understand the why. And so that's the reason why you got to get you an insurance coach, somebody who can sit you down and truly evaluate your process and give you what I call a holistic insurance review from top to bottom.
Yeah, so with that being said, man, like you said, a lot changing, and it is essential that even I'm in the industry. I don't know everything. I know I have a few dear partners in this business that educate me, but still, we kind of can neglect without the knowledge and the expert there, kind of holding us down and share, making sure we in the right product. So we appreciate that. How about this is something that I know that you're very passionate about, and that is claims. Tell us about the claims process.
The claims process is huge. To me, that's where, as an insurance company, that's where you kind of make your hay, if that makes sense. Okay. It does no good for an agent to provide this superior, excellent service, and then on the back end, you have a problem with the claims department, or something's not covered. And typically, when something's not covered, it usually occurs on the front end from an agent, either A, not telling you should have it, or B, you taking off the coverage because you're looking to save money. But it's very important from a claims perspective that you get somebody that's very knowledgeable about the claims process. Here in my office, literally, I'm looking at my whiteboard right now, and I follow up on every claim here in my office, because I want to make sure that my clients get that level of service that's warranted. Because trust me, I started my career in claims, and that can be a very heavy job. And let me ask you this question: when was the last time you had a claim and you call your adjuster and you was happy to talk to him or her?
Uh, nah.
Right, right. So typically, when it happens, something has occurred. Whether somebody has hit your vehicle, you've had a fire loss, you had a busted pipe in your home, something has occurred. So that's where you need somebody to monitor that process. If you have an agent or you're doing business with someone, they say, hey, call this 1-800 number, and they're not advocating for you during that process, then you need to reevaluate that. But once again, this industry has now been kind of watered down to where the importance of having someone to really guide and coach you is not as valuable, versus somebody wanting to call a 1-800 number and deal with somebody who's in a service center that's going to be there from 7 to 3, 3 to 11, the midnight crew, versus getting somebody that's deeply rooted into the community, that has those relationships that you can talk to, who can give you the proper guidance in that claim process. Because some claims may not meant to be filed. You may need to get somebody to come out and look at it before you file that claim. So there's a lot of moving parts that go with that. But once again, it boils down to, how are you being handled? Are you being properly coached? Are you being properly managed to execute on those ideas? Because you can file a claim and it may not go the way you think it should go because you was properly ill advised.
Okay, man. Well, I appreciate it. Look at all these nuggets that Mr. Ware is dropping. Hey, you guys, if you're not friends or connected to Mr. Ware, he does this Ware Wednesday. And I gotta say that was an influence to Hello Monday.
Where
So
Wednesday influenced Hello Monday.
what's up? What's up, man? Hey, trying to be like the greatest. You know what I mean? Got to be like the greatest. But appreciate that. Well, last question: policy exclusions. What are exclusions or limitations on a policy? And what type of what? How is that a? Why is that important?
Well, there are several different exclusions just depending on the type of situation you're dealing with. And I'll talk about flood for a great example. Okay. Flood is a separate policy sold on its own standalone entity. Now, let's say, for example, if a person has a pipe that busts in their house, typically that is going to be covered. All right. Because it's immediate action where that water bursts and that has caused damage, and service master or Servpro going to come out and do the remediation work. Or I had a situation just recently where, let's say, like right now, we got this heavy rain. Water has piled up into this client home that's sitting on a slope, new built. The water from the rain eventually intrudes into the house. Guess what that is considered? Flood. There is
Hmm.
no coverage on the policy for that. Now,
Well,
when we did the policy, he's not in the flood zone. And one of the things that's so unique about flood, flood used to be sold based on a code on where you lived at near a flood zone. Now, the way the federal government is done with the flood is that basically anybody who wants to buy a flood policy can buy that flood policy. So it's one of those situations is once again, all of these things are moving parts in their own living organism, excuse me. And it's one of those ordeals where the gentleman with the house, the water comes in, intrusion, we got flood, there's no coverage, versus the pipe bust, you got immediate coverage. So once again, that's where you got to sit down and go through step by step by step by step by step on that proposal. So when I talk to a potential prospect and I tell them, hey, this is going to probably take us about 30 minutes, 40 max, because you may have some questions. And those are the kind of things that we address to make sure that we properly got you insured, and then we can proceed and go from there.
awesome, man. Awesome. So great information, man. We will. I know we got to get back to work, but let people know. I know they see the phone number here on the screen, but how do they? Any other way to contact you? What's the best way?
You can catch me on all social media handles. You can go to Google and just type in my name, Celestia Ware III, and then my business page is going to come up. My Facebook page is going to come up. My Twitter page is going to come up. My IG page is going to come up. My office number is right there. There's somebody always here in the office, and even when we're not in the office, the phone rolls over to the business cell phone, so we don't make sure we miss any calls. And at the end of the day, we just love helping people. Now, if you have a question or a concern, we'll just sit down and just talk to you. And we don't want to try to win the business per se, but we'll at least point you in the right direction and make sure you have what you need, and just kind of let the chips fall from there.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time. This is you've been my one of my first guests on the Experts Corner. We appreciate that. Of course, you can find Mr. Ware in I Love Real Estate group on Facebook. You can even go to www.iloverealestate.life and join that group. It's a private group. Great amount of wonderful people that we'll be featuring as well. But again, appreciate your time. And we talked a little bit about this earlier. We are very passionate about the community. I'm from Nashville. I grew up as a kid here, and we used to go to farmers market on the weekend. We will be back at farmers market with Nashville Black Markets March the 1st. So if that's the first Friday of each month, you should come out. We're going to have a real estate corner. We'll be inviting members from I Love Real Estate to check us out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here, I got a little snippet of it. Let me show you this real quick. So it's going to be nice. You come out, we'll have a photo booth popping. We're going to have something really big there. Just note, I can't go into all the details, but it'll be really big there. This coming the Friday, the March 1st. Come on out, meet a few great people, talk about homeownership. If you're interested in homeownership, you'll be able to get some information there. We're going to be talking about down payment assistance, about different loan programs, grant programs. But again, just having a good time and connecting with the community. So we enjoyed it last time. Again, we'll see you there. If you are a partner with I Love Real Estate and want to participate, drop me a message. Let me know. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, man. So we about to jump back out of this thing. Any parting words you want to share?
Basically, folks, at the end of the day, get with somebody who can guide you properly. You have a doctor that you go see once a year, you or twice a year, your optometrist that you go see, your dentist that you go see. If you're a business owner, you got a banker, you got a CPA person you deal with. Put your insurance in that same category for the homeowners, your auto insurance, your umbrella insurance. Take the time out to truly invest in yourself and invest in your family because, as I stated earlier, unless you're in that 1 percentile of wealth, most of us are going to obtain wealth by through home ownership. And the
Yes,
one
sir.
thing I would hate to see is that a person on their way to obtaining that wealth, but they're cutting corners because they think it's not worth it or it may be a price difference. But at the end of the day, all it takes is for one accident or one incident for you to lose everything you work for. So get you somebody that's local, whether it's myself or somebody here in the Middle Tennessee market, but get you somebody local that you can trust who can sit down and properly advise you to make sure you have what you need.
Yes, yes, man. We appreciate that. A lot of great information. And we look forward to, again, doing some business this year and connecting and helping people because that's what we do, right? So,
Yes, and let me know about the black market. I'll be more than
yeah.
happy to throw in some help if you need something.
All right, we'll make it happen. See that? See, we got good support here. That's what's up, man. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate you. Thank you for checking out our Export First Corner. And we'll be hollering at you at I Love Real Estate. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.